Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our host for this evening, Ms. Giselle Fernandez.
I'd like to give you a bit of history of MALDEF, which I know most of you know, but I think it bears repeating. This incredible organization was started and founded 41 years ago and has established itself as our nation's premier Latino civil rights organization. Please welcome to the stage and give her your utmost warmth and abrazo and aplauso, the Emmy-nominated actress Lupe Ontiveros.
I hope everybody is having a great time tonight. It is a very important cause that we are attending tonight to recognize those individuals that have been supportive of this organization that I've known. You know, everybody in LA knows I've been around 100 years, and I know that MALDEF has been around a long time.
He is the author of a guide to the law school application process for people of color and a guide to the bar examination for people of color. Anthony received his Juris Doctor from UCLA School of Law and is most proud of the fact, out of everything, that he was born in East Los Angeles. Let's take a look at his work in the community.
Anthony has a passion and operates with passion in every facet of his life.
He really always wanted to be very well connected to the community, and Anthony is a role model. He also has a very wonderful program that helps people of color figure out how to get into law school.
What the organization does is we provide educational consulting services for students of color who are seeking to apply to law school.
What Anthony is doing is reaching out to undergraduates of color, people who aren't in law school, and saying to them, you can do this, and this is how you do it.
It is my honor to present MALDEF's 2009 Excellence in Legal Service Award to Anthony Solana, Jr.
I want to thank these students, all of the students that come to the workshops, the 500 plus students that we had at UCLA a little less than a month ago, the over 1,500 students of color that we had up and down the state and at 2 venues in the East Coast who are pounding at the doors of these law schools. And our job is to open them wide open. And then when we open them, take them off the hinges.
MALDEF is proud to recognize Anheuser-Busch with its 2009 Corporate Social Responsibility Award. And to accept this award, please welcome to the stage Margarita Flores, Senior Director of Community Affairs for Anheuser-Busch.
Over the last 2 decades, Anheuser-Busch has contributed over $58 million to worthy Latino organizations in the area of education, economic empowerment, and leadership development.
Please welcome the legendary Dolores Huerta.
I'm so happy to be here, and I am so happy that I get the great honor of introducing a person who has meant so much to our community. This is a person who has been in the forefront of all of the Chicano struggle. He has been in jail 7 times, not quite as many as I, but anyway.
Rudy is driven by a very strong passion for social justice.
I think truth drives him, a search for truth.
His scholarship from beginning to end has always been driven by his passion to liberate, and liberate across many dimensions. Even early on, he spoke to the issue of gay rights, and it was at a time, I think, when we really needed to have that said by a male professor on our campus.
When they created Chicano Studies back in the late 1960s, early 70s at Northridge, you know, they were told to put together a curriculum for 1 or 2 courses in Chicano Studies. Rudy, in the same amount of time that they told him to do 1 or 2 courses, he put together curriculums for 40 classes.
It is my honor to present Rudy Acuna with MALDEF's Award for Lifetime Achievement, and not just MALDEF, but from all of us, I believe. So let's welcome Rudy Acuna with a great big super viva. Wait a minute. Que viva Rudy Acuna!
We wouldn't have a middle class today a Chicano middle class if it wouldn't have been for those, without those students opening up the doors. Because education is still our salvation. But education is being closed to our students. When I was going to Los Angeles State College in 1957, the fees were under $10 a semester. Under $10 a semester. Today, my students are paying close to $5,000 a year. They're paying about $750 a semester for books. And an awful lot of them, you know, are fighting for the DREAM Act because they dream of getting an education that they won't be able to get.
He is the first Latino mayor in over 100 years. Please help me welcome the leader of the great city of Los Angeles, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa.
The civil rights issue of our time is the issue of education. And, you know, whether you were at Cal State Northridge or UCLA or SC or any UC Berkeley, any of the schools that we were at, every one of us got here on the shoulders of others. We got here because people fought for us, because MALDEF fought for us, because they opened up the door and they stood for the idea that we have a right to an education, and that education is the great equalizer in a democratic society.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Antonia Hernandez.
She is a corporate titan. She runs a production company, a restaurant franchise, a fragrance company, and manages a lot of endorsements. She is also a student back to get her master's in Chicana studies. And let's take a look at the message from President Bill Clinton on the work that Eva is doing in our community.
Hillary and I both would like to congratulate Eva Longoria Parker on receiving the 2009 MALDEF Community Service Award. Eva came from a family of volunteers and has dedicated her life to helping others. Through her charity, Eva's Heroes, she provides an after-school program for individuals with developmental disabilities and additional resources to their families. Her work with Parents Against Cancer provides Latino families affected by cancer with the education, financial, and language support they need to deal with the disease.
She's championed the cause of Padres Contra Cancer to ensure that children in our community who suffer from cancer have resources available to them and an organization working on their behalf.
She does remarkable work for the UFW. She does volunteer for so many organizations. She founded Eva's Heroes for adults with developmental disabilities and is an incredible spokesperson and tireless champion for people who don't necessarily have a voice.
You know, she really shows what not only what power is, but also what love is, because power and love go together, and when they're used together, they can create a lot of good in this world.
Ms. Eva Longoria Parker.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much. I'm really, really flattered to accept this award, especially from MALDEF, which is an organization that I've worked with for many, many years, and to stand here and actually receive one of these awards at these dinners I've attended for almost 10 years is really amazing. Dolores introduced me to the world of farm workers. And it is because of her and people like Cesar Chavez and Arturo Rodriguez, who runs the Cesar Chavez Foundation now, that inspired me to produce a documentary called Harvest, which follows the plight of child farm workers through a harvest. And many of you in this room know that migrant workers, and a lot of them children, continue to be invisible and are caught up in a system that they are powerless to change. And that is why I chose to lend my voice to this particular issue, so that I can show the American people that every year hundreds of thousands of kids set off on a journey to across the United States, over 38 states, to pick the food that we eat. And 25% of the food we eat is picked by a child. And often the people who feed the most well-fed nation in the world go to bed hungry. And I couldn't stand by and think that everybody in the world doesn't know this incredible injustice. So hopefully when Harvest is completed, it will be able to be a political tool to change the ways of the law.
On behalf of the MALDEF Board of Directors, I am extremely pleased to announce that in August of this year, the Board of MALDEF selected Thomas Saenz as MALDEF's next President and General Counsel. Tom began as a staff attorney, and then he went on to be Regional Counsel of MALDEF, and then National Vice President of Litigation for MALDEF. He was responsible for many of MALDEF's renowned settlements and courtroom victories on behalf of the Latino community. We are very fortunate to have him back at MALDEF at this critical moment in our history. Please welcome MALDEF's new President and General Counsel, Tom Saenz.
As a legal constitutional organization, MALDEF has a special role to play in this set of issues. Too often we have all heard the rhetorical canard from those like Dobbs who focus on the undocumented who continue to make contributions to our development and ask in a snide tone, what part of illegal don't you understand? And use this to justify labeling people, human beings, as quote-unquote illegals. Indeed, at MALDEF, we have to ask, in paraphrasing their own rhetorical canard, we have to ask, what part of unconstitutional don't they understand? And continuing the analogy, we must teach these unconstitutionals what our values are, what our nation stands for, what the arc of development of justice in this country means.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to El Príncipe de la Canción, the one and only José José.
Uno tiene que entregar gran parte de su vida para poder hacer esta clase de trabajo. Si no, pregúntenle a Toña Hernández, que sabe muy bien a lo que me estoy refiriendo, porque ella ha entregado muchos años de su vida a hacer esto como debe de ser. Y MALDEF también. Por eso MALDEF tiene un espacio muy, pero muy grande en mi corazón, y por eso estoy aquí presente para demostrar mi respeto a una organización que siempre se ha comprometido con nuestra gente. Y ahora quiero presentarles y dejarlos con una hermosa joven que tiene una voz admirable. Se queda con ustedes mi amiga Nidia Rojas y el mariachi Los Aventureros. Muchísimas gracias.
Mucha